Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel Beyond a Reasonable Doubt, where we examine the evidence and follow where it leads. So, recently, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Meta would be removing third party fact checkers on his platform, which is a step in the right direction to removing censorship and allowing free speech to reign a bit more freely again. I think we all know that social media sites censor posts that they deem hateful, unhelpful, offensive, misinforming, or really against any thought or opinion that doesn't agree with the current cultural and political agenda. In doing this, Mark Zuckerberg is also admitting that they do this and have done this through Meta. But like I said before, we all knew this was happening. They were allowing the biases of the culture to dictate what could and could not be posted on their site. News and media sites aren't supposed to be biased in the first place. They're supposed to give the facts and let you decide for yourself what to do with those facts, not use their sites to sway people in one direction or another through media manipulation. But that is exactly what goes on every day. And this leads us into the question of why do things need to be censored in the first place? This implies that some things are just too bad or wrong or offensive to be shown to the general public, which implies morality is objective, which means that morality is not just based on our feelings or preferences, but instead, morality is something we all inherently know because it exists inside all of us. Romans 2:15 talks about God's laws are written on our hearts. This tells us that people have a conscience that informs people what is right and wrong. This also reveals that morality comes from God and it exists apart from us. C.S. Lewis put it this way: the very idea of freedom, including freedom of speech in this case, presupposes some objective moral law which overarches rulers and ruled alike. Unless we return to the crude and nursery-like belief in objective values, we perish. So this is the exact opposite of what our postmodern culture tells us, that you can basically just decide for yourself what is right and wrong. Now you can see the allure to this and how this might work in theory until what's right for one person is wrong to another person, such as me deciding to steal your car. It's okay though because it's right for me. Or lying to you and manipulating you to get what I want. So you can see the problem with this right away, I hope. Nobody wants that. Everyone wants others to be genuine and honest towards them. So, anyway, Meta is removing third-party fact checkers. The ironic thing is that these fact checkers weren't actually giving the facts, or at least not all the facts. Sometimes they were straight up lies to fit a political narrative, or they would share the facts that supported their position, and they were giving their biased opinions, which don't equal facts. If you're scared that the truth will sway people away from your worldview, then maybe you need to rethink your worldview. Maybe there's not much truth to your worldview if this is the case. Our biases are our biggest deceiver because we will literally believe anything if it supports our current biased position. This is called confirmation bias, and everyone is capable of falling prey to it, including myself. It can be hard to separate truth from our biases, but wanting something to be true isn't good evidence that it is true. But in a secular humanist worldview, is there anything wrong with hiding the truth from society? Or spinning the facts to manipulate people to believe a certain ideology? No, in an atheistic, secular, humanist world, there wouldn't be anything wrong with this because there would be no universal moral law holding us accountable, because that has to come from God. But because Meta recognizes that this wasn't right, what they were doing, it proves that there is an objective thing called right and wrong, which is good evidence for God's existence. How is it possible for morality to be objective if all there is the physical, material world like naturalists say that there is? Morals are immaterial ideas and values, so how can they exist? And yet we all live by a moral code. Secular humanists have no way to ground their morality other than to say, I like this action and I don't like that action, but they cannot say anything is objectively right or wrong. By liking or disliking, or another way to put it, preferring or not preferring, doesn't make something objectively right or wrong. Some might say that the moral code is just what society gives us because it betters the society. But who gets to decide what is good for the society? It could be the person with the biggest gun, right? We can all see that there are objectively evil people and actions in the world. So if there are objectively evil things in the world, then there must be objective good in the world as well. And we know this because we all live like it's true. We don't just avoid doing evil actions because we could face jail time, say, although that is one reason most of us try to avoid them. But we also don't do evil things because we know it's wrong. And everyone knows they are wrong, regardless of who you are, where you live, or when you were born. Objective morality applies to everyone who has ever lived. And even the ones who are doing evil things know it's wrong, but they do it anyway. Objective morality would still exist even if all the humans on Earth disappeared, just like mathematics or logic. Like those, morality is something we discover, not create. And if morality exists, even if we don't, then that means they transcend us and must have been put there by someone else, namely God. I'm actually fairly shocked when I heard the news that Meta would be becoming more free speech centered, as this is not something I thought they would ever do, as they seem to have sold their souls to the propaganda machine. But regardless of which side of the fence you're on with regards to free speech or censorship, if you think evil things can come from either, then you are unknowingly admitting that good and evil objectively exist, and that points to the existence of God. That's all I have for today's video. Like and subscribe if you like this content, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.